Yeah. How many of us are willing to do that? Break out from the crowd and follow our independence way, huh? And I was sitting around this morning prior to the service, just looking at my notes real quick, and oh, that reminds me, I should probably have it up there. And and I thought, because the month started out with the interdependence, the declaration of interdependence, and how we're all interdependent. And then as I was looking at this word independence, I thought, wow, I had a Michael Beckwith moment. I redefined it. Independence. If we are in to how we are interdependent, if we take ourselves individually and express our individual self and then go into how we are all about who we are, we have this a way of supporting the larger whole by being fully who we are. So being independence is really about being totally interdependent at the same time. It's this liberty to be our own free selves, but so often we follow the dependence way. The dependence way. I mean, I had it this morning. I was like, okay, I want to put a shirt on. Oh, I know what I'll wear. I'll wear my men's group shirt so I can be a part of. And that's a lovely thing to be a part of. We want to be a part of something, right? But also, there's this call within us to be different, to be a unique, individualized expression of the divine. Just like the snowflake or the blade of grass or the four-leaf clover, there is no one that is exactly like anyone else. But so frequently we want to be the people pleaser, or we want to follow along the average Joe Roe. We don't want to break out, And the people pleaser thing can work. I mean, I remember when I was working at J. Riggins, I loved when the people pleaser came in. J. Riggins, do you remember that store by any chance? It was a clothing store. Maybe it was because it was in the Midwest. It was like the male version of Casual Corner. I'm taking you way back. All of y'all that are going, yeah, old people. Yeah. I know, because I was there. But the people pleaser would come in and you could sell that guy just about anything. Oh, those pants look good on you, dude. All right, I got another one for my bonus, But the real story was that we should break out into our own fashions. I mean, like, you remember when Jamie Lula shows up, right? Who can dress like Jamie Lula? And if any of you know Nirvana Gale, who can dress like Nirvana Gale? I mean, though, these people they take it to their own level. And look at Sean popping that hat right there. How many other, look, you're the only one in here with a hat. That's what I'm talking about. And he woke up this morning, he even carries his own microphone. He's got his own stylish microphone, you see. That's how you make a signature for yourself in the world. And we all have that bit of signature that we have for ourselves. I mean, who has a restaurant like the Junkyard, This is right? This is what I'm talking about. This is stepping out and doing your own thing. Look at Colin over there. Chill. No, don't go to your unique individualized self, baby. There you go. Got the dark glasses on, 'cause he's cool. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. Cool dudes. I wrote a book title. I'm really good with book titles. I had a book title a long time ago from college. Cool dudes walk slow because they wear dark glasses at night. Right? Break out of your mold and live that expression of who you really are. I'm thinking about the story, the Native American story about the guy that finds a chicken. He finds an eagle egg and he takes it home and he puts it in a nest of prairie chickens. And this eagle then cracks open into this nest of prairie chickens. And he believes now that he's a prairie chicken because he grew up with him, He would fly in short little spurts with feathers flopping about this far off the ground because that's how prairie chickens fly, And one day, after years of this, he was looking out in the yard and here's this gorgeous bird flying, floating on the wings in the air, just looking all gorgeous. And he says to the old prairie chicken, wow, what is that? Because something called to him about this bird. He says, what is that? He says, oh, that's an eagle. Yeah, you'll never be able to fly like that because you're a prairie chicken. And he was so disappointed because something about it made him want that energy, right? And he was so disappointed, he lowered his head, and right there below him was a pond, a still pond. And he saw his reflection, and he looked back up at the eagle, and he looked back down, and he went, and he lifted up his wings, and he soared, and he flew like an eagle. He saw the truth of who he really is, am. He knew that he could fly like an eagle. Y'all can fly like eagles. Each and every one of us can fly like an eagle, but our own individualized eagle, you see? We need to look into our reflection. Abraham Lincoln says, the absolute best way to predict your future is to create your future. He did say that. He says it right there. Voila! Right? The best way to predict your future is to create it. How many of us are creating our future? Or how many of us are trying to be like the average Joe, keeping up with the Joneses? You know, we don't want to look too big, don't want to shine too bright. Well, I'm here to tell you, let your light shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Right? Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. That's what this is really all about. It's, don't be just good enough. Be better than good enough, because there is something better than good enough in each and every one of us that is calling us forward all the time. I was reading Dr. Frank Richelieu. Did you guys, any of you ever know Dr. Frank? Oh my God. Has he spoken here? Wow. I love that guy, man. And what he wrote in this one book that he's got called The Art of Being Yourself. Be the best that is in your power to be, not because you are competing with others, but because there's always more within you to be expressed. How many of us hold back a little bit because we think it's going to diminish somebody else's situation? I hope that's not your story. I hope you know that there is enough in the universe for you and everyone else to be the best that they can absolutely be, to be more expressed, because it's in us, always waiting to show up all the time. It's like my friend Kim used to say every time she would see you, instead of saying hello, she would say, love your show. Hey, love your show. I love your show. I want to see your show, I want your show to be the star of your own show. And the great thing is you get to write that show as well. I had I was looking for quotes last week. I feel a tangent coming on. I was looking at quotes last week, and I saw a quote that was really neat. It was about like Alexander Hamilton. I didn't use it, but then I started looking it up, and there's this great show on right now in Broadway, Hamilton. I was like so isolated. Like, really? I didn't know about that. Did y'all know Alexander Hamilton was black? I didn't know that either. I was like, dude, really? There's been a black guy on money for a long time. Wow, that was off the hook crazy. He exemplified Shakespeare, to thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. And if you do, you cannot be false to any man. You will show up for who you are if you are true to yourself, and people will see you for who you really are. And it doesn't diminish anybody else if you live the largeness of who you are, if you decide to travel the independent way. We all get permission to be more of ourselves when we see you being more of yourself. We are diminished when you diminish yourself because you think for some reason I'm not going to feel good about myself because you're so great. No, if you're so great, I'm going to go, I'll have that emulative envy. I might be able to do that as well. I mean, look, now Michael's got his dark glasses on. Now there's two people wearing dark glasses in the room. Before this is over, all y'all gonna be wearing sunglasses. Then you're back to being like everybody else. No, be yourself. Let's do it, yeah. Dr. Holmes says, we must become the thing we want. We must become the thing we want. We must see it, think it, realize it before the creative power of mind can work it out. Now that's a powerful thought right there. What he's saying right now, it's not even the act as if. It's the believe as if. It's the feel as if. There's an energy in you that is expressing through you, and this expression needs to drop the barriers between its ability to be and your holding it back. And that requires you to see the desires of your heart and to feel what that's like. You know, when I was getting ready to go on a ski trip or something, man, I just love that feeling of floating down on snow. You know, that was just the greatest sensation. And I would think about that, and then I would think about how great it's going to be afterwards to sit in the jacuzzi and then jump off into the snowbank afterwards, boom, you know, and let that like whoosh, as you'd float in it because your body was so hot. That experience, and so it just made the whole journey that much more exciting, you know. Feel it, realize it, then the creative power of mind will work it out for you, and the constellation of the universe will start to come together, and you'll start to see relationships that you've never seen before, and opportunities that you've never seen before to do the things that you've very wanted. Andy started this jam session on the third Thursdays over at the Junkyard, and he just wanted to show up with some of his friends and play some music, and all of a sudden, other people started showing up, and next thing you know, he's at the talent show, and John Bellis is at the talent show playing guitar, and he goes, God, that guy's good. Why don't you come out to the jam session? So he comes to the jam session, and John brings his son, and then John's a guitar teacher, and all of a sudden, Willie's there, and Willie's his student, and Willie gets up to start singing, and it's like, walk, it all came together because Andy just had this crazy idea that maybe I might want to use this room and play, you know? Stuff like that expands and explodes simply by you taking the first step. Then the universe just rushes in to fill in all the gaps. If you have the realization and the feeling and the thinking power so that you can instruct the universal power. But you must prepare your way. You say you must prepare your way by clearing out your mind, clearing out the clutter. If your house is cluttered, I mean, you know, everybody's got the Fibber McGee closet, that's okay. But if the whole house is all cluttered, you might think about that a minute, because I would think, I have an idea. If your whole house is cluttered, your mind is a little cluttered too. And if your mind is cluttered, it gets in the way of this creative power because it can't figure out what the right message is. Get clear about who you really are and what you're all about. And that requires doing a little work. You're going to have to think about it a little bit. You see, because the only barriers between you and your good are your thoughts. The only barrier between you and your good are your thoughts. What are you thinking about most of the time? Give some thought to what you're thinking about most of the time. And if most of the time you're thinking about what you don't want in your life, ka-doom, think about that for a minute. If most of the time you're thinking about what you don't want in your life, what is that creative mind bringing into your life? More of what you don't want. Just flip the switch. As soon as you find yourself thinking about what you don't want, go, I just thought about what I don't want. What do I want in that place of that? What do I want in place of what I don't want? And give your time to thinking a little bit more about that, and you will neutralize the mixed messages in your life. You know, I was just intrigued with the Wilma Rudolph story. Do you guys know the runner, Wilma Rudolph? Do you know her story? You know that she was, first off, she was the 20th of 22 children. Right. That right there is like, just to overcome that, just to get some food off the table is a victory in that life, you know? I mean, whoa, pass the piece. Right, you grab something real fast, right? It's like eating in prison. You know, got to put your hand in front of your food so nobody will take it. Then, if that's not hard enough, growing up in Tennessee in the 50s and 40s, you know what that might have been like about Jim Crow laws, all that kind of thing. But then she had scarlet fever and pneumonia and ended up with a bad leg that had to be braced. And she was told she would never walk right. And she said, no. I'm going to be the best runner in the world. Something in her said, I'm going to be the best runner in the world. So at 9 years old, she took off that brace, and she had this interesting little walk for a long time. And she got this rhythm to that walk, and then she began to run. And she would run races in high school and junior high school, and she was always what? Where did she come in those races? Last. She ran races until she went to college, and she came in last, but she kept running all the time. She just loved it. And this coach at Tennessee State saw something in her. And when she came out to the Tennessee State track team, he said, okay, you could be on the team. This guy named Ed Temple. And he worked with her, and he worked with her, and he worked with her. And within 4 years, she was the fastest runner on that team. And the next year, 1956, she went to the Olympics and won not one, not two, but 3 gold medals. You hear that, Wilma? They're applauding you. That is preparing your way. That is hearing your independent way and moving forward into your life. Go back to Dr. Frank for a minute. He says, one of the things which makes life stimulating is to lift yourself out of the ruts of old thinking and think new thoughts. You want to be excited about your life and find a level of enthusiasm in your life? Check this out. Give up the old thoughts that are limiting you and attach some new thoughts to your life. Do some new thinking. After all, you're coming to a what kind of church? New Thought Church. So why not have some new thoughts, you know? What are you coming here for? Golly gee, there's an Old Thought Church right down the street. And there's an awful lot of cars in that parking lot. What's up with Old Thought? Why are so many people hooked to Old Thought? Why? People pleasers, average Joes, afraid to step out to be the unique, individualized expressions that they truly are. Now, some of them are okay. I mean, I'm not going to be judging everybody, but I have a theory. I got a theory. Let's go down there and see if it's true sometime. We should just all pack up one day and walk down in there and show up. Hi! We're from the New Thought Church. We had a new thought. We'd come here and hang out today. What's this stuff about Jesus? You know, we learn about Jesus too. He tells us we can do all kinds of incredible things. Why aren't you doing that? You know? That's what I'm saying. Let's break out of the cocoon. Break out of the cocoon. Think about the cocoon for a minute, though. I went to the museum in Phoenix. They say they have the largest butterfly museum in the world. I don't know. Anybody who has a butterfly museum probably says it's the largest one because they've never seen that many butterflies at one place until they go to the next one that's even bigger. But that one in Phoenix is pretty big. And what's interesting and what I noticed there is the whole experience of the butterfly in a cocoon. You know, if you do anything to aid the butterfly in its process of coming out of the cocoon, you will kill that butterfly. It must fight. It must struggle against that cocoon to break out. Every time it pushes a little bit harder, as much as it looks terrible, and it does, it's like, whoa, let me help you. But no, don't do it. Because every time it does that, it's building strength for those wings. And once those wings open up, and from that strength, it's ready to fly like that eagle we talked about a little earlier, you know? Now, the story about that is, in our lives, this whole thing I'm talking about, living your independent way, it's like breaking out of that cocoon. It's tough to go your own way. It's so much easier to stay in the cocoon. But once you do that, you will build the muscles. You'll build the spiritual muscles and the physical muscles and the mental muscles to break through those barriers. And you will not only fly, but you won't look back. Guarantee you, when the butterfly flies out of that cocoon, it is not going like, wow, I really missed that. No, it's gone. It never looks back. And once you experience your independent way, once you experience the uniqueness and the fullness of who you really are, you will not look back. I came here and I was working over at Metro Media when I first came to LA, and it was so great because for whatever reasons, well, I know the reasons, Joe Seda, who was the vice president at KTBC in Austin, Texas, he was the vice president of Times Mirror Broadcasting. And so when Times Mirror moved him to their flagship station, which was KTTV, K-Times Television, right, KTTV, then what he did was he pulled people from his favorite station, which was the Austin station, and he moved them to LA. So a lot of the people that I worked with for years were at that KTTV. And so when I came to LA, as scared as I was, because it was the big city, you know, I mean, it was like huge. I was so nervous. They hired me. They hired me for Monday through Friday. I was so nervous that after 3 weeks, Joe called me into his office and he says, I know we've made the right choice and you're going to be our main weather guy, but we're going to put you on the weekends. I didn't hear anything he said after that. He moved me from weekdays to weekends. I came out here and I got demoted. Oh, it felt so bad. But the thing was, it was interesting, is that I was in this place. What's important about this story is that I was in this place where all the faces were familiar. The people were people I knew. They were easy to work with, you know? But there was something calling me to a higher experience of broadcasting. And I knew that what I really wanted to do was to not only get back on the weekdays, which I did in a short amount of time, but what I really wanted to do was to work in a bigger arena. And so I asked my agent if he could get me a job because I wanted to work with people like Bill Stout. I even said to him, I said, I want to work with people like Bill Stout. And he said, okay. And 2 weeks later, I was working at CBS with Bill Stout. And that was crazy because this is the big leagues, and I didn't know anybody there, you know? But if you want to experience more, you have to be willing to move from the lesser to the greater. From the lesser, the more comfortable experience, to the greater experience. From the place of familiar places and familiar faces to the place of unfamiliar places and unfamiliar faces. That's how you expand and grow. But that's why you have to do the cocoon work. That's why you got to work those muscles and get those wings so you can span and fly. Because it's not easy, you see, to move from the lesser to the greater. And in the process of all that, you might be thinking, man, this is so tough. Life must be giving me a test. No, it's not a test at all. Dr. Frank has the secret to this. It's not a test. What it turns out to be, it's life, you see. It's life giving you an opportunity to reveal what you already know. When you think that life is testing you, the only thing that's happening is life is reminding you that there is a greatness within you. And you already know it, see? Otherwise, you wouldn't have that feeling. You already know it. But now it's just like an opportunity is showing up to allow you to live it, you see? And this is what we're talking about. Having the perseverance and the tenacity to build the mental muscles and the physical muscles and the spiritual muscles to move from the lesser to the greater, to stop living as the average, to stop being the people pleaser, to stop worrying about what other people think, and to just deal with what you think is the best to do. And when you do that, you give all of us permission to be our greater selves. So it's time to get on your way. It's time to move forward. It's time to learn to love what you do in life. And as you learn to love what you do in life, the way opens up for you to do that. It's just that simple. If you can have this experience, and if any of this works for you, if you're willing to give it a try, I have a pretty good authority here that says that the infinite presence will expand and wants to expand, and it wants to expand through you. This thing that is God, that is ourselves, wants to expand through each and every one of us. It has no other way. Like I was telling you a few weeks ago about the guy I met at the wedding, and he said, there is no God. And I was like, in a way, he's kind of right. There is no God because God is expressed through us. God is a no thing until we become a something. It's our somethingness that gives God presence in the world. And so this presence, this no thing presence that the Buddhists talk about all the time, that no thingness that Thich Nhat Hanh talks about in his meditations all the time, is a somethingness that is animating itself through you. So it is up to us to do our job to allow God to be more fully expressed in the world. This is our journey. And the reward for that is more energy, more zest, more enthusiasm for life itself. If you wake up in the morning tired, and it's not because you ran a race yesterday, if you wake up in the morning tired because of the burdens of what you went through yesterday, I have an inkling here that maybe you're not living your fullest experience of life that's available to you. Maybe you're not experiencing that you already know, that is waiting to be revealed through you. And when you are experiencing that, you wake up with energy, with zest, with enthusiasm, And isn't that a lovely way to want to wake up in the morning? Wake up in the morning ready for life, excited about life, instead of, oh God, another day, I don't want to give coffee. No, it's not fun that way. I have a new dare. I was thinking about all this stuff with the convention last week and the talk of Reagan. It reminded me of the DARE program, How about instead of dare not to do something, how about dare to do something? Dare to be this unique self that you are, and happiness is yours. Dare to be bigger than you've ever thought you could be, which is impossible because whatever you think you can be, you can. Dare to be that, and you will find your life more prosperous. I'm not even talking about, maybe you'll make more money. That's cool if you want that. But I'm talking about the kind of prosperity that is like a breath of fresh air, the kind of prosperity like a tree experiences when it just keeps making leaves, and it makes fruit, and then it makes seeds, and then more fruit and more trees. That kind of prosperity that just continues to grow and grow and grow into your life. And as you do that, the world benefits from it, because remember, it's independence. If you are in yourself, if you're independent, dependent, then you are also in the experience of dependence. You're in the experience of the wholeness of the universe expressing, and it cannot be its fullest self without your participation. So this is what I'm talking about this week, about your participation. Dr. Frank says, let's go to him one more time. He says, nothing will give you more liveliness and vitality than to bring out the creativity within you in your own unique way. Nothing will give you more liveliness and vitality than to bring out the creativity within you in your own unique way. Wouldn't you like to do that? Doesn't that sound like a fun way to live, to be full of vitality and enthusiasm and vigor for life? And it's as simple as just sitting down every now and then in that gap space I was talking about, or in your journal, or just sharing with your friend, or just sitting in the silence, listening to some great music or something. It'll show up in all kinds of different ways as you open the door and allow yourself the luxury of saying, what is mine to do? And how is my life right now reflecting that in a physical form? What is mine to do? How is life reflecting that in a physical form? And as you do that, you will begin to travel the independence way. All right, there you go. So thus, the affirmation. Do you see how that works now? Here we go. I am a unique expression of a universal presence, unlike anyone else. Yet, like all else, because I am rooted in the one. So it is. That's a prayer right there. That is a prayer right there. We have been having so much fun, our practitioners. You know, I hate to say that your challenges are fun for us, but we wouldn't be practitioners if we didn't love praying. When I worked at the World Ministry of Prayer, there were a few that worked there that had the sort of, oh God, more of that. And they would leave the day really, really tired. I worked the night shift, got off at 11:30, went in at 5:30, pray for 6 hours. And I would leave that place, it would be so fired up, I wouldn't want to even drive my car home. I just wanted to walk home because I was like, lit up. Because the experience of prayer, when you are knowing the truth and when you take it away from, see, what happens for a practitioner is we know we're not doing the work. Spirit is doing the work. See, we're just a vehicle for the announcement of what Spirit is already doing. And to have that much energy rolling through you on a regular basis, it just, that's the vitality and the enthusiasm, you see. So when you put a prayer request in this box, you are thrilling us to no end because we get to be this conduit for the divine and get pumped up with divine energy. You know, as I say this, I might be overselling it because you might think, I want that for myself. And you might not put a prayer in the box. And that would be great too, because you have that power within you to know that truth about yourself. Each and every one of us are practitioners. But if you get something getting in the way of that for you, please do offer us the opportunity to pray for you. And so, as I speak this truth for each and every one of us, this is what I know. That the divine universal presence that is living its lavish way through you, that is having its experience of life as a result of you, as a result of me, as a result of each and every one of us, that in that knowing there is a richness and a relaxing. For I know that all the work is not mine to do, that my work is simply to be open, to be willing. I don't need to have more willpower, but I definitely need to have a little more willingness power. And in the willingness to allow Spirit to use me, to open myself as a vessel for the divine, I allow something great to be experienced in the world. I allow more joy, more happiness, more support. So I invite each and every one of us right now to be the more, to accept that, yes, my life right now is absolutely wonderful, and it can be more wonderful. And even if there's a challenge in my life, that too is wonderful because it allows an opportunity for Spirit to express itself more fully through the moving through that challenge. So I accept divine love operating as every cell and fiber of each of our beings. I accept wholeness. I accept harmonious relationships and divine right action. I accept the guidance and the wisdom and the intelligence of Spirit supporting all that I do. I know that this journey of independence is a deeper expression of interdependence and allows more richness to show up in the world that benefits and lifts the tide for all as I live my all. So it is through this truth and understanding that I am energized this day to step out into the world and say, yes, Lord, mine to do, and I am here to do it now. And feeling the gratitude that flows from an experience of oneness with the divine. I accept this prayer for each and every one of us, and I hold it in a loving container as I offer it up into this universal law of mind and release it like the eagle that flies on its full wingspan, like the butterfly that flits across the sky, like the wind that blows in the trees. I let it be free into that universal law. And it is done. I am complete. And so it is.
So it is.